How's it going, everyone? One of the biggest gaming stories of the year thus far, I would say, honestly, was the announcement of Forza Horizon 5 coming to PlayStation 5 yesterday. It's something that has been rumored for quite a while, but I saw it from a lot of you guys where it was just like, okay, we keep hearing these rumors, I'll believe it when I see it. A lot of you guys took that kind of approach because the idea of a prominent Microsoft franchise like a Forza, like a Halo, like a Gears of War, one of those franchises coming to PlayStation was almost seen as a hell freezing over kind of moment. Maybe not that crazy, but kind of crazy in the sense of the gaming world when those franchises were so entrenched into that Microsoft world, into the Xbox world. And Forza is one thing. Obviously now we look ahead to the rumors of Halo, and I want to reiterate and I want to go over some of the thoughts definitely left in my comments section, and I'll read out some of the comments left on yesterday's video. But as far as Halo is concerned, Jez Corden is once again now reiterating that Halo Master Chief Collection is first, he heard, but we'll see. It doesn't seem like it's anytime imminent either. I did see a lot of people are looking to dunk on Jez Corden for a tweet that was made in, I want to say 2023. When was it? Yeah, 2023. No, Xbox isn't porting its console exclusive to PlayStation. It's just hard hopium from fanboys. Now, nothing against somebody being wrong. People are wrong all the time. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just, I don't like the verbiage here. Xbox not porting its and first of all, this was tweeted December of 2023, so it ended up being wrong, I think 2 months later is when they made the announcement. But the initial announcement weren't the big games that people were excited for, although Sea of Thieves was notable, but Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, and Grounded, those aren't the groundbreaking games. The idea of it just being hard hopium from fanboys, bro, if I only own a PlayStation 5, why wouldn't I want Halo? It's not me being a fanboy. Why wouldn't I want Halo? Why wouldn't I want Forza? Why wouldn't I want Gears of War? It's just, those are great games. Nobody is taking away that they're great games. This idea that just because they want a Gears or a Halo and that makes them a fanboy. I hate the term fanboy. There are certainly fanboys out there, and man, have I seen a lot of PlayStation fanboys and PlayStation fanboys cheering on the death of Xbox when that would be the worst thing for you, the PlayStation fans. I don't know how many of you guys are realizing that. I think a lot of you guys are, because in the comment section, whenever I bring up that point, a lot of you guys agree with me. The last thing anybody should want is for Xbox to go away, and the last thing for anybody to want is PlayStation not having a direct competitor. And I just feel like maybe it's a little bit more, they are pronounced these days of the PlayStation fanboys, because I guess they're viewing this as this gigantic W. It is a gigantic W in the sense of not you being a PlayStation fanboy cheering on PlayStation to kill Xbox, but you as a gamer getting more great games on your platform. It's a good thing. I have argued that everything from Xbox coming to PlayStation does worry me a little bit. Like, let's just say in a hypothetical world, Gears of War E-Day was a day one exclusive. That worries me a little bit because at that point, I'm worried about PlayStation not having direct competition, and that will ultimately impact PlayStation consumers as well. And PlayStation being able to run wild unchecked, nobody should want that. Nobody should want that whatsoever. But Halo Master Chief Collection coming to PlayStation 5, I think makes all the sense in the world, and it would do incredibly well. And at this point, it's not like MCC is one of those games, and this is important to reiterate, MCC isn't one of those games that's to a large degree pushing people to buy an Xbox. We all love Halo 1 through 4, they are great games, but MCC came out back in like 2014. It's been over 10 years since the Master Chief Collection came out. It's cool, and I think from a novelty standpoint, it's great. Like, awesome. MCC available on PlayStation. Master Chief, that character that's iconic with Xbox being on PlayStation, that's gonna be a real hell freezing over like moment. But at the end of the day, it's a 10-year-old collection. It's gonna do exceedingly well, and if I was Microsoft, I would do the reveal if you can work out with Nintendo, the MCC collection. I would do it, the MCC reveal, as a part of the Switch 2 rollout. Like that Nintendo Direct that's coming out, because the thing is, you don't want to promote PlayStation that much. You want to promote the idea that Xbox is going everywhere. However, it going everywhere means that it's also going to your direct competitor. I don't think you want to make that big of a deal about it. Let it exist, collect your revenue, but you don't want to make a big deal out of Halo going to PlayStation 5. You just kind of want to be a little nonchalant about it. Like, yeah, obviously it's going to PlayStation 5. We're going everywhere. Xbox is going to be everywhere. The gamers are going to make a big deal out of it. You're not going to stop it, but Xbox from a promotional standpoint should not be making a big deal about it. And when I look at the Phil Spencer interviews and when he talks about it, I get that vibe from him as well. He reiterates, it's not just about going to PlayStation, it's about going multi-platform, and I very much believe they should keep that at the forefront of their promotion. Why things going to PlayStation is so relevant is because PlayStation has always been Xbox's direct competitor. Nintendo hasn't, PC hasn't, PlayStation absolutely has, and that's where things are a little bit different. And I do want to bring up a couple of points from yesterday's video. A lot of interesting comments were put out. It's going to be weird having Gran Turismo sitting next to Forza on my PlayStation 5. Absolutely, in terms of just seeing that side to side. A little bit of a shift, to say the least. Now, this is a point that I see reiterated quite a lot. So now there's pretty much no point to owning an Xbox console anymore. I think that is pushing the cart before the horse way too much. Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PlayStation 5. It's a 3-year-old game at this point. It came out in fall of 2021, I want to say. It's a 3-year-old game at this point. Awesome. Great that it's coming, but it is a 3-year-old game. If we're talking Gears of War E-Day, Day 1, Fable, Day 1, so on and so forth, that is another thing, and I do think Xbox is still gonna have an audience. What I am questioning, given where they are pushing Xbox to, is that audience for the Xbox console is becoming narrower and narrower. Look, if you're just an average person and you are looking at the pros and cons on PlayStation versus Xbox, and you can only pick one, Xbox offers you a great value with Game Pass. So if you're the kind of person that you plan on playing a lot of games, you plan on wanting to save money and playing those games day one, Xbox becomes a great option because you get those games with Game Pass, and that's awesome. That's a good option. However, I think we overestimate how many people fit into that criteria. People that are console gamers, people that play a lot of video games, because inherently to get value out of Game Pass, you probably should be the kind of person that's playing a lot of video games, whereas I think the majority of people that are gamers, and this is just from what I've seen in my personal life, 95% of the people that I know playing video games, they play their live service games regularly, so that's Marvel Rivals, Destiny 2, whatever game you want to pick, it's those games, and then they'll pick up a couple games a year. They're not the kind of person that's going to get month-to-month value out of Xbox Game Pass. They're going to be playing South of Midnight this month, then Claire Obscure Expedition 33 the following month, then Doom the Dark Ages. They'll pick up 3 to 4 games a year, and they'll play them concurrently with their live service games. And I feel like that's the large majority of people gaming these days. Whereas Game Pass, yes, it's a great value, but gaming is always going to be inherently different than something like a Netflix, because Netflix, there's no live service TV shows. You ain't live servicing The Office. That ain't gonna happen. You just watch your show, you move on to the next one. It's a very, you move to the next show. Gaming isn't necessarily like that, where people are investing a lot of time into the games that they do play. They usually have a live service game or two in rotation, and then they play a couple games a year. I would say people like me, people that watch my content, are more so the outliers, where we're fiends for games. We're playing everything that comes out. You're damn right. I'm gonna be playing like 8 games coming out next month. Avowed, Monster Hunter Wilds, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza, Tales Through Daybreak 2. How many people are like that? Very few and far between, as far as even people picking up 2 games a month or 1 game a month. I just don't think that's this overwhelming majority of people. And if you are the kind of person where you want to play games a lot, you're probably invested into gaming as a hobby, where you're okay with spending a lot of money on gaming as a hobby. I do think there's something to that as well. It's just all of these factors where I think it negates the value proposition to a wider audience that Xbox can offer. I do think there's this more narrow approach. However, all Xbox has to do is they have to deliver 1 or 2 killer apps. That's all they need. You don't need 80 exclusives. Is it great to have a lot of exclusives? Sure, but in the Xbox 360 days, which is beloved, it wasn't like the 80 exclusives were carrying them. No, they had just a couple of absolutely premier exclusives carrying the hardware. Gears of War 2, Halo 3, Fable 2. It was a couple of games, and sure, you had games like Infinite Undiscovery, where it was Infinite Undiscovery pushing consoles? Probably not. I mean, it was obviously done to help them push consoles in Japan, but didn't really work out. But it was that collection of just a few premier killer apps, and that's all you need. You need Gears of War E-Day to be that, you need Fable to be that. Oh, and by the way, those games aren't coming out on PlayStation either, so if those games come out and suddenly those are the killer apps, and again, and like I said, there is this large majority of people that they just play live service games and then they pick up those killer app type of games a couple times a year. And if Fable can be that, if Gears of War E-Day can be that, that'd be great. That's what Microsoft needs more than anything if they still want to push the Xbox console. I feel like they need those killer apps. South of Midnight ain't gonna be that. Indiana Jones, as much as I like the game, it wasn't that. Hellblade 2 isn't that. Hi-Fi Rush, love the game, it isn't that. And this is true for PlayStation as well. I talked about it in previous videos. Gravity Rush, as much as I love it, that's not the killer app that's selling consoles. God of War is, Spider-Man is, Wolverine is gonna be, to a lesser extent, Horizon to a very lesser extent, Gran Turismo, those are the games that are the killer apps. And you could argue, hey, Forza's now coming to PlayStation, wasn't that one of the killer apps? But they still got Forza Motorsport, baby. But yeah, Horizon's the way superior franchise. But I do feel like Xbox needs those killer apps for the console to have a lot more value. And if you have the killer app, let's say Gears of War E-Day is that, in conjunction with Game Pass being great value, in conjunction with these other smaller titles like a South of Midnight, okay, then overall we have a package. But I think at the helm, you do need that one or two killer app that does set the console apart. You don't need a billion of them, and the great thing is, after you have the one or two killer app, everything else is fair game to port on over to PlayStation. Okay, you got E-Day and well, let's say Fable as your killer app. Keep them on Xbox as a console exclusive for a while. Maybe port them on PlayStation 5 2 to 3 years down the line, but use them as the killer app to push the Xbox console. And then you got Game Pass being this great value proposition, and then the South of the Midnights, the Hellblade 2s of the world, great, you publish those games can go on PlayStation, not a big deal, sell them for $40, $50, that's fine, and you'll have them on Xbox as well. They can be sold standalone, or they're on Game Pass. But I do think it would be important for Microsoft to have a couple killer apps. Now, they need to establish said killer apps. Halo's kind of cooked right now. Gears isn't the place where it was, and that's the biggest issue, I think, with Xbox, is they don't have those killer apps to push their console. And it's not like you need 80 million of them. PlayStation has figured that out as well. That's why they release a couple of them, and they're more so focused on live service games. But for Xbox, I just think establishing a couple of killer apps would push them a long way, and that would give reason for there to be an Xbox console. And we'll see. Maybe that's not even their thought process. That's just how I personally would handle it. I think you could do this multi-platform approach, but there's gotta be a fine line that you walk, especially if you still want to keep Xbox, the console hardware, around. Bring your Gears of War E-Days to PC day one. Don't think that's a big deal. I don't think PC's a direct competitor. PCs are fairly expensive. You get the idea as far as that's concerned. But I still think there's a reason to own an Xbox, but the reason has to be established more, and how you establish it is by Fable being that marquee game, is by Gears of War being that marquee game, and that's what I think Microsoft needs more than anything. I think Game Pass being a great value in conjunction with Gears, with these killer apps, with Halo being revitalized, etc., etc., I think that can push them a long way. And I'm talking about new games, not like a collection of titles like MCC is. I'm talking about whatever, Halo, whatever the next Halo is going to be called, being a true killer app that gets people invested, because I feel like PlayStation has that with the Spider-Mans, the God of Wars. Does Xbox really have that at this stage of the game? Game Pass to some people is a killer app, in the sense that, you know, the value is so insane, but I do think they need those premier games, and I think that's how they could establish the Xbox console, even more so than now being a console worth owning. And I know some people are like, oh, here's this guy talking about how to make the Xbox console, and he was never gonna buy an Xbox anyway. Bro, I probably want Xbox to succeed as much as anyone else, and if you've watched any of my videos, that is abundantly clear. I am terrified of this world that PlayStation can go unchecked doing whatever they want. Nobody should want that. I want Xbox to outsell PlayStation. Right now, with PlayStation as it was, it would do me no more joy than to see Xbox have an incredible 2025 and clap back at PlayStation and outsell them 3-1 consoles. Would love to see that. Would want nothing more, because I think PlayStation is absolutely disastrous right now, but I don't think that's gonna happen, but that's what I would personally want. Nevertheless, it's just, you know, interesting stuff to talk about. Regardless, talked about Halo, talked about a lot of other things, my thought process, kind of went on a rant there, but there's so many layers to it, and this is just how I would approach it. I don't know if this is a Microsoft's MO, Xbox's MO. They may be looking at Project Latitude 2 years from now, everything is day one. And at that point, if Game Pass is your biggest drawing card to the console platform, I just don't think a lot of people will be buying consoles, but again, that might not be the business that they're super invested into anyway, so all of this could be moot. So it is what it is, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off down below. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting year, and I think whenever one of these announcements happen, you're going to see a lot of social media discourse, to say the least. But that'll do it for me. Again, your thoughts down below. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.